I'm very pleased to say, joining us on the phone now is Olympic silver medalist and former badminton player Gail Ems. Gail, how are you? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, good evening.
Hello, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you again. It's been a while. Now, listen, I have to thank you first and foremost for filling my timeline with all the latest updates in the badminton saga. I'm not in any way being facetious. It has been an absolute pleasure. It drew my attention to it in the first place, so thank you for that. You've been pretty much, obviously, surrounding the events. What have you made of the, the controversy as a whole, and where do you sit on this argument that some people are blaming the players and they shouldn't be doing it, but the organisation could be to blame for allowing it to be a possibility?
I think I'm swaying towards the organisation for allowing this situation to happen. The whole reason this has all come about is because of group stages in badminton. Now, badminton, every tournament we've ever played has been a knockout situation. But for the Olympics, they decided for some reason there will be group stages. And in the doubles event, it's 4 groups of 4 with the top 2 going through to the quarter-final stage. And then you go into knockout. And as soon as it was announced, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, there were so many players who went, well, you can just fix where you'll go in the group and then you can fix the draw. So we instantly knew, and loads of players suspected that this could happen. We never actually thought it would, and this is the problem. This is what's happened. Even though you have suspicions of, people can, sort of fix where you go in the draw, you don't believe that people would actually go out there on court and put on a show, what happened last night. We had the world #1 pair from China who have never even lost this year or even last year, deliberately serving in the net and out to the side of the court so badly that it was just blatantly obvious that they were trying to lose the game. Of course, the Korean pair didn't want to didn't want to win the game because they didn't want to top the group. They wanted to come runners-up. So it was just embarrassing. Neither pair wanted to win, and it was just shocking. And this situation could have been resolved or just, made to everyone's attention or that this shouldn't happen, and if it does happen, they would be disqualified. But it just carried on. Yeah. The whole circus carried on, and that's what's so frustrating.
I mean, Gail, you used the words shocking and embarrassing there. I mean, it's for badminton, which I would assume, because it's obviously not one of the most dominant sports, not so much at the Olympics, but just Olympics aside, any sort of publicity like this, it has a huge impact, doesn't it? And it must be hugely frustrating for yourself, being an ex-pro, to see scenes like this.
It was horrible, and even today, the media room, it was just packed with journalists. And you know what? We had the press conferences, we had all the announcements that these players were disqualified and everything. And then I had so many journalists come up to me and say, but, wow, I've just been watching some of the matches and it's an amazing sport. And I'm like, I know. And it's really, really annoying to hear that because they're all here. They were all here in Wembley Arena to comment, to report on, this badminton scandal. And actually, all of them have come away going, actually, I've just watched some of your matches, and it's an amazing sport to watch. So, yes, it is embarrassing. And, badminton gets once every 4 years an opportunity to be on TV and showcase and, to show people what an amazing sport it is. But, now everyone's going to remember badminton for this scandal.
And obviously, I mean, we look at the fans who, of course, we all know the debacle with Olympic tickets is bad enough as it is, but some of these fans that were there last night, this may be their only ticket they get for the Olympics. I mean, how much sympathy do you have with them, Gail? Because it's such a shame, isn't it, that they've had to witness, effectively 8 players who didn't want to win their matches.
Exactly, and the crowds were booing, they were cheering, there was chants of off all the time, and so many people on Twitter were just telling me that they felt embarrassed, and they were taking their children as well to the Olympic Games. Said, right, we're going to watch the badminton, and this is what they had to watch. They had to watch, the world's top players, throw in a match, and that is disgusting. And, you just really don't, and I don't blame them for wanting their money back. However, the badminton BWF has said they will not be giving refunds because they said there's other matches that were good.
Gail, can I just ask, would it not be simpler to just play out the group stages and just have a draw? It would probably take about 5 minutes to make the draw, wouldn't it?
I know, exactly, and I think people are realising that because they predetermined where you would go beforehand, that's why this situation arose. They should have just had the 4 groups, you play your group, and then they, like you say, just just draw it out of a hat of your placing. So, yeah, I think it's shocking that
I mean, it's manipulation. It's manipulation by any other word, isn't it? Because they're trying to keep the best players or the best competing nations apart until the final, as we see in World Cups and Euros in football. But really, I don't know if you agree, but the best players in a draw or in a kind of manipulated situation like this will usually get to the final anyway, won't they?
Well, that's true, but it all happened because of the shock result in one of the groups. Earlier on yesterday morning, a Danish pair beat the number 2 seed from China, which meant the Danish topped the group and the Chinese came second. Now, if it had gone to paper, on form, the Chinese would have been in their rightful position as number 2 seed and so on. And then everyone would have tried to win to avoid them. But because they lost, everyone was trying to lose to avoid them.
Well,
so it was because of that early morning match that happened. And then because they weren't all played at the same time either, that just meant it was the domino effect.
Yeah, blooming Denmark, eh?
Yeah.
Causing all the
something,
I think I
something
the
wrong.
Danish girls was like, this is all your fault. You didn't realise that.
Gail, listen, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your views. I know you've been amongst it. And listen, I really hope this doesn't detract from the remaining fixtures, obviously, in the badminton, and that it does get the rightful press that it deserves. And it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you tonight.